What's Stephen King's biggest book? The Stand. How long is The Broken Eye by Brent Weeks? The frickin' same. Let's talk about it. I am of you. I am guile as much as you are. True, I have a scrap of decency, but it is only a scrap. How do you think you could treat a guile with such disregard and get away with it? Because I am you. I'm as cold as you, I'm as smart as you, and when you push me, I'm as evil and as cruel as you. I have a thin film of goodness floating on the top of my guile, grandfather, but I don't know how senile you must be to miss just how thin it is. Hey, what's up, bookworms? It is Mike here, and we are back this week to talk about the third book in the Lightbringer saga, The Broken Eye by Brent Weeks. You've heard me in the first two reviews. I'll put those videos up here for you to check out if you missed them. That I think that this is a completely underrated series. I don't understand why I don't hear more about it, because it's fantastic. And non-spoiler thoughts I'm going to throw at you first. And I think this is very non-spoiler to say that it is very good. It is very good. It is definitely worth the investment because, look, that's a big one. It does not play around. It gets to the point faster than you would think with a book this thick. But before I do that, a little house cleaning, guys. If you could help me out and hit that subscribe button, that would definitely go a long way to help me be able to keep doing these videos because I love doing them. And as long as you guys are watching them and commenting on them, I'm going to keep doing them because I have a great time doing this. But it's very frustrating when you are a father of two young boys and you're in school full time and you cut out the time to do this and you make a video and 50 people watch it. You know, that can get frustrating. So please hit the subscribe button, comment, like, share, do all that stuff you can. It would really, really help me out. So what I'm going to do here is, like always, I'm going to do my non-spoiler thoughts first. Then I'm going to do my spoiler thoughts and get really, really into it. So if you have not read the book yet, and you should, make sure that you watch up until I tell you, and I'll give you plenty of warning that spoilers are coming, and then bookmark this video, come back to it a little bit later. All right, so basically, let's start at the beginning. It takes place just hours after the end of Blinding Knife. I really feel like Weeks is continuing to kind of flesh out this world. He's given us some new locations. And some new characters. He's letting some of the, up to this point, secondary characters kind of take the spotlight in this one, and some of what we thought were the primary characters kind of take a little back seat. So it feels like a little bit of a transition, but in a way that is good, a way that is building the universe. And I love this little world that he's created here, so I'm okay with that. I'd kind of argue that Tia is the main character in this book, whereas I felt like she was just kind of a supporting player in the last book. She really takes the spotlight in this one, which was very surprising to me. I'll say up front, I like Tia. I have no problems with any of the characters in this book. I just don't know if I liked it enough that you're going to tell me that she's going to kind of lead this book. It's kind of, shared with Kip, as always. But Gavin is essentially a background player this go around. He spends most of the book in Dispose, and I'll get into that when I get into spoilers. Same with Karis. It seems like whenever Karis and Gavin are apart, she just kind of disappears out of the story, and I hate that because I thought in the first book she really was up front and center and had a really prominent role, and now it just kind of seems like she's just there to play off of Gavin, and I wasn't kind of crazy about that decision. But Kip and Andros, those are likely my favorite parts of this book. I kind of say, I was telling my wife about this, kind of imagine what you liked, and I'm talking about the books here, guys, not the show. The books, A Song of Ice and Fire. I kind of feel like Kip and Andros are similar to that relationship between Tyrion and Tywin, where when those two are conversing with each other, the story just flies. I mean, the word, the phrasing, the writing, everything is just brilliant when those two are talking with each other. Those are my favorite scenes in this book, And it was the same way with Song of Ice and Fire. So that's the relationship I get a lot out of this here. Even though it's not father and son, it's a bastard grandson and grandfather. But it's really good. Their stuff is easily the highlight of this book. While I thought that the so far in this series, I thought that the villains have kind of been okay. Herodul or Gerodul, how you pronounce that, was okay. Then you got in the second book, you kind of, I guess it was Omnichrome, the color prince. I don't know. He was kind of off in the background, but I feel like this one establishes Murder Sharp, who appeared in the last book. Murder Sharp, he kind of feels like the villain that this series needed, because he's still really keeping the color prince as like an ominous threat in the background, kind of elusive. And I mean, he's in less than 5% of this book. I don't even recall him having any like direct dialogue this go around. There's someone like listening when he's giving like a speech, but I don't think there's any like direct dialogue this time, unless, I mean, it's a very long book. I might have just forgot. But Murder Sharp, fantastic, very, very chilling in like a Joe Abercrombie, I'm very uncomfortable reading this kind of way. And I guess Zyman is okay as a villain. Again, he's in very, very limited parts of this book. He's in the very beginning, and then he's in the very end. The 600 pages in between, you don't know what he's doing. What else? Liv and Corvin, the Danifus. Danifus I feel like they're once again very reduced roles. I thought Liv had a reduced role. Corvin was almost absent in the last book, and that's increased in this one. I think Liv has one POV chapter, or two, and one of them is where she is meeting with Corvin. So, yeah, again, these are two characters I really, really liked in Black Prism, and I feel like their roles just keep getting reduced. And when you got a book this long, this the longest book in the series up before the release of the final one, I don't see why you're not finding room for these characters. So that kind of set me off a little bit. But look, this book has all the same shocking twists and turns that I've come to expect from the series. The stuff with Iron Fist and his siblings was great. You finally get more of Iron Fist. The ending, it made the series 3 for 3 on me for just completely just like kicking my ass with the ending, because Brent Weeks apparently knows how to write an ending. And it's not just a cliffhanger or something like that for a cliffhanger's sake. No, it's a major event that makes you say, what? And it makes you question everything you've read up to this point. That's why if you see the artwork I made for this, I'm like, how did I not see this coming? And I'm like, it was tight. There was no way you could have seen this coming. If you saw it coming, then I'm surprised, because I completely didn't. It was well written. So this is still a very good book. I will say I think it was probably about 150 pages long. I don't feel like it needed to have the length of Stephen King's The Stand to tell the story that told, because, I mean, for it to be the longest book in the series, I feel like not as much happened in it that happened in the first two books. And that seems weird. So I definitely think that there was some world building going on there where it could have probably been fixed in the editing room. But it never gets to a point where it's just like exhaustive and you've got to stop reading or anything. He's a wonderful, wonderful writer. You're not going to hear me criticize his writing at all. If I'm going to rank these at this point, I'm going to go number 1, Blinding Knife, number 2, Black Prism, and that's like a 1A and 1B really, and then this one. But again, they are all great. Don't look at this as like, oh, he says this one's bad. No, it is very, very good. It is very good. It's just those first two I probably enjoyed a little bit more so because of the character flow. I like the way that it was divvied up among the characters a little better than it was here. More on my favorite characters, and a little less Tia. Again, who I like. I just don't know if I need her to be the lead in this novel. So give me more Karis and less Tia going forward. And that'll be about it for non-spoilers, guys. I definitely recommend that you start the series if you haven't. The last book comes out in October, so you have a chance to just burn right through it. This is not a George R.R. Martin situation or Patrick Rothfuss situation. This is finishing. And it's very, very good so far. And unless book 4 just completely just lays an egg, I don't see how I'm not going to be just completely excited to crack open that book the first day that it's released in October. So I'm going to start into spoilers now. So if you guys, again, if you haven't read this, you don't want to know, don't blame me, all right? Because I'm going to talk about spoilers here because I got to. Let me get my notes here. What I'll do, because this is just such a long story, this is kind of what I did with some of the first Law books, is I'm going to kind of go by each character and talk about their growth and what happened to their character arc in this book instead of just running down the plot, because this would get like 30 minutes long, 40 minutes long if I tried to do that. So let's start with Karis. I already talked about where I felt like her role has been diminished, but with the way that it ends, I feel like it's heading in a direction that I do like. So, the White strips her of her blackguard status right at the beginning of the book because she's married to the Prism, even though he is missing and presumed dead. But, she becomes the head of her spies for the Chromeria, and she actually fits the role well. She's not happy about it, but she fits it like a glove. She does very well right off the bat. And again, it seems like at the beginning of the book and then at the end of the book, she has a prominent role. And at the end, after Aurea passes, they start to have their ceremony to choose the next White. And it seems like Andros has done his scheming like he's done the whole book. And you know how it's going to end up, but she's able to avoid an assassination attempt, and she actually wins the job. So if she's going to be the White going forward, I definitely think she's going to have a more prominent role, especially now that, spoiler, Gavin's alive. Gavin in this one, he spends the first third of this book in chains, rowing an oar on a gunner's ship. I've seen, I think it's because I just watched Last Kingdom. If you've watched that show, Last Kingdom, and Uhtred stays on that boat for like 2 years, but it's done so well that I wanted something that gripping, and it just was him talking to Orholam, a prophet, conveniently named Orholam, by the way, about if he's the Prism or not. And that's, I don't know, I guess I kind of wanted more. It was just so plotting, and it never really went anywhere until the escape. But then he spends the second half, the second third of this book as a prisoner for Orlane Milagros. And Iron Fist's sister, the Nakaba, I think that's how you pronounce it, Nakaba. So he escapes in the boat. He actually gets attacked by a dolphin. I thought that was a very interesting twist there. Sorry, I was just laughing, trying to think of him fighting a dolphin. But they want him to do all this stuff, and they eventually they burn out. They're going to burn out his eyes and then send him back to his father. And he gets one of his eyes burned out before he's rescued by Karis and Iron Fist. And then he spends the climax of the book, the last third, basically asleep before he wakes up after the climax is over to find himself a prisoner. Once again, this time he's in the prison that he made for his brother, the Blue Prison. So I presume that he's put there by Andros. That's what he thinks. He thinks Andros has figured it all out. And, obviously knows that he's actually Dazen. So, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of a benching for Gavin in this book. It was, hey, he's in prison. We're going to talk about how terrible it is for him, and then we're going to not talk about him for 150 pages. That's fine, I guess, because the first 2 books have really been dominated by Gavin. I was viewing Gavin as the main character, maybe Kip. So, yeah, I'm definitely hoping there's more of him than just hanging out in a prison trying to find a way to get out of it in the next book, because I don't need 2 books of Gavin being a prisoner. With Kip, again, he easily has the most growth in his character arc this go around. He escapes from Ximon really early in the book. He meets with Andros, and Andros tells him that he wants him to find these cards that Janice made, and these cards that he assumes that Gavin stole from him, his personal deck. And if he finds them, he's going to name him the Prism-elect, since Gavin is presumed dead. And if he doesn't, he's going to name Ximon Prism-elect. It's really unclear to me if Kip even wants to be the Prism. I don't know if it's just because he assumes that his father's still alive, or if he just don't want the job. He seems kind of lukewarm on it either way. He really wants to be in the Blackguard, but he knows that that's not going to be the life for him. But he does find the cards later, and they attach themselves to his skin. And then he has this out-of-body experience where he meets a being named Abaddon, who claims to be the Lightbringer. He calls Kip Diacoptes. Am I saying that right? I kept wanting to say Diet Coke. Diacoptes, who actually, I believe, if I read it right, he founded the Broken Eye. So are we dealing with reincarnation here, or is this guy just full of shit? Don't really know. But Kip, then he views every single one of these cards, and they've kind of tattooed themselves on his skin, and it duplicates the cards, and it makes some kind of skin cloak, which sounds disgusting. But he brings that back with him after Tia resuscitates him. Apparently this thing is called a miscloak. Or I'm sorry, a Mistwalker's cloak, and it makes the wearer invisible. And so Kip does what he always does. He just, hey, a girl, let me just give you this this cloak. So he gives her this miscloak, which is basically Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility, right? What else? What else happened to him? Oh, we know he has feelings for Tia. I think that's been very well established. And they're mostly unreciprocated. After she thinks he's dead, she's saying, oh my God, maybe I did feel something. But, it was hard for her to look past him being her master, because he won her slave rights in the last book. But so he accepts Tysus Milagros' political marriage proposal, which is just strictly for political purposes, which makes a lot of sense for everybody involved, really, but he's young and he still thinks he's going to marry for love, right? He's not quite as jaded as some of us older readers might be. But I don't know. It was fine. Tysus definitely seems very Marjorie Tyrell. Sorry to keep bringing up the Game of Thrones references, but she definitely doesn't. She definitely seems like she's more than meets the eye. She's definitely scheming to bigger and better things. But he actually ends up marrying her, and after Andros makes Ximon Prism elect, and after Kip says he doesn't have the cards. And Ximon, it was even gross. It's like Ximon wonders if he can bed Karis, who he knows is his mother. That's not creepy at all. But Kip's he's newly married, and at the end he decides he's going to go face the Color Prince. So there we go. That's kind of all over the place, but that's kind of as I was remembering things. With Tia, like I said, I do feel like, as though I didn't see this coming, I basically feel like this is her book. She might not have had the most chapters, but I felt like she had the most content. And what she did definitely seemed to be the backbone of the stories, which was infiltrating the Broken Eye. The White finds out about this, and she wants her to keep doing it as a double agent for the Chromeria. But her scenes with Murder Sharp, and I think the word that I used to describe it was on level with Joe Abercrombie, as in, this is very uncomfortable for me to read. They are very disturbing. He's fantastic. He is a fantastic villain, and I hope they don't get rid of him too soon. Now he's got like dog teeth or something. It's just creepy, very, very creepy. But he's kind of in a way like her messed up mentor. I don't even know. It's tough. It's tough stuff to read, But she learns that she is a light splitter, even though she can't see certain colors, but she can feel them. Is how he puts it. She learns all about the Broken Eye, the history of it, Diakoptes, all that stuff. And it may not sound like much with my description here, but I definitely feel like she had the most POV chapters in this book. But now that I'm going through it and actually talking about it, I guess Kip did have more than her. I don't know, maybe this is going to sound rude, and I don't mean it this way. Maybe I just enjoyed Kip's story better than Tia's in this one, so his chapters didn't seem as long. But when she's there getting that history of the Broken Eye, I was like, at first I was like, oh yeah, I want to hear this stuff, and then I was like, all right, now I just feel like I'm in class. So if there was any chapter in this that kind of drug for me, it was that one. But again, it's not bad. In a book this long, you're going to expect it. So yeah, I like her story, but I could use less of it going forward. With Iron Fist, finally, I feel like we get something more from Iron Fist besides, oh, he's just the greatest fighter ever. We meet his brother, Trimblefist, which again, these are great names, and his sister, if I'm saying this wrong, I'm sorry, the Nakaba, I believe it's pronounced the Nakaba. He's stripped of his command from the Blackguard when he tries to keep Andros from throwing Kip off the island. And then we get the big reveal later that not only is Grinwoody, who we thought was just Andros' slave, he is actually, Grinwoody is the leader of the Broken Eye. But wait, he's also Iron Fist's uncle. But wait, Iron Fist is very much a member of the Broken Eye. Man, completely floored. Like I said, I was just stunned. I could not believe it because I was like, I'm trying to think of a bread trail here, or a breadcrumb trail here. I could not piece this together at all, why I did not see this coming. It's very wonderful writing because I didn't suspect him of this at all. If there are any hints to this, I completely missed them. And I think the closest I can even think of is when Janice had the Iron Fist card, and Kip said, "Why does he only have one eye?" Meaning that he was in the Broken Eye. And I know that is a complete stretch. I was just looking back through my notes and thinking, and that was the only thing I could even come close to seeing that Weeks actually left us like some hints or clues that this was going to happen. So I mean, I was completely blindsided. And again, it's just great writing, and it's a character that you'd really become endeared to. So it was really rough to take. With Andros, this is definitely the most Andros we've seen in one of these books yet. He's now more vibrant, and he appears younger since he was stabbed with the blinder's knife, and that he uses that to his political advantage and does some maneuvering, and he's named Primakos, and he basically makes him the de facto ruler. He leads the military. He's running things, especially with there being no Prism around. So he's running the show right now, and Tia follows him with Harry Potter's invisibility cloak. That's what I'm gonna call it. And learns that he has contracted the Broken Eye to assassinate the White, even though she was on her deathbed. She was already saying that she was going to die by this Sunday. So I guess he just didn't want to wait in any line there. So what I want to know is, does Andros know, one, that Grinwoody is the leader of the Broken Eye, and if so, is he himself a member? I don't think so, unless he knows that Tia is following them and this is all an act. He definitely doesn't. He definitely doesn't know that. I just can't see him knowing that that Grinwoody is in a position of power like that when he thinks he's just his manservant. So lots of questions going forward. I think the biggest revelation in this book that I didn't talk about, aside from Iron Fist's true motivations, is that Gavin's color, or Dazen, in case you guys know, I'm talking about Dazen. I'm just going to keep calling him Gavin because it gets confusing. But Gavin, we learned that through flashbacks, that black Luxon is actually his color, and that Janice knew it from a young age. She knew that he had a little something going on up there. So really, really good stuff. And I want to find out more about this. More of his flashbacks would be really cool if I'm going to have to deal with him being in prison again. Is he already he's going to be talking to the dead man in the next book? I get what he's trying to do here with the symbolism and, mirror. But I don't know. I would like Gavin to have a more prominent role than being a one-eyed prisoner and for a whole book next go around. So in Blood Mirror, I want to see more of that. Blood Mirror, which is book 4. I have been told that book serves mostly as a setup for The Burning White, a setup book. And so while I'm hoping we get to see the confrontation between the Color Prince and Kip, I'm thinking Weeks is probably going to kind of drag this out and set up the big fight in book 5. I want to know if Iron Fist is doing this Broken Eye thing willingly, or if he's being blackmailed or forced somehow. Again, it's just a character I like so much. It's hard for me to accept this, I think. And Liv and Corbin, I want them to have more. Basically, that's it. I just need more of them. I need some kind of resolution between those two. He shows up and basically gives her a knife and tells her the truth about how he married the God, what was her name? Just that seer. I can't think of her name right now. They actually call her something, the Eye or something like. Anyhow, that's why I don't take great notes, guys. When I'm really reading good, I really get into it. But I just basically need more of them. They've both been kind of MIA for 2 books now, and she took the Superviolet Seed Crystal in the last one, in her last chapter. But she refused to wear it, and she actually stabbed a guy over it with a knife that Corbin gave her. So I'm curious of her intentions going forward. My kid's trying to break into my office. Go away! As far as going forward, guys, I do plan to keep my same schedule, which is 1 Lightbringer book per month, leading up to the release of The Burning White in October. September is a big month, though. As you can see behind me, I'm a very big Stephen King fan. The Institute comes out in like 2.5 weeks now. So I'm going to be doing that one. Same month, you got the new Joe Abercrombie, A Little Hatred. This is a sequel to the original trilogy of First Law, which I'm a huge fan of and have been waiting for like 7-8 years, maybe a decade. I don't know. So I've been waiting for this for a long, long time. But in October, all I have on my schedule is Dr. Sleep. I want to read that before the movie comes out. It's a Stephen King book I didn't actually ever read because I was afraid it was going to taint the legacy of The Shining. But now there's a movie coming out. I'm going to read it. So I have plenty of time since Burning White doesn't come out, I think, till like a week before Halloween. So I have plenty of time. I'm not worried about hitting my schedule on that. I'll definitely get there and then do a speed read of that. Hopefully, I heard the hardback is 992 pages. I actually ordered my signed copy from the sign page, so very excited about that. But I'm gonna have to get the digital version also, so I don't have to wait a week for it to show up past the due date. So, I mean, hey, whatever, more books, right? So, again, don't worry. If you're really enjoying Lightbringer stuff like I am, I'm going to get to it. I really recommend the series, guys. If you haven't, this is the best time to do it right before a release comes out so you don't have to wait for that last bit. So, if you want to see that and more videos like these, please, guys, hit subscribe, hit like, please comment. I love talking to you guys in the comments. So please do that, and let me know if there's any series I haven't done that you're interested in me doing, because I've started planning 2020. I've got some things, but I've got plenty of room open. There's not as many big releases that month. So again, please subscribe, share these videos with your friends, and I will talk at you soon.